What's up, y'all? How y'all doing? So today I'm gonna talk about something I usually try to avoid or not talk about at all. So there's really two things that I avoid talking about, public, on camera, anywhere, is religion and politics. But I just thought, I'm gonna exercise my First Amendment today and do it. So today I'm gonna talk about religion. Now, just so y'all know, I'm an atheist. I don't believe in God. That's just my preference, my choice. But anyways, I guess I'll talk about why. Now, I don't know where to start with this, but uh, start off with this. So I used to believe in God and go to church and stuff. I believe the first one was Catholic. I believe it was, and the second time was Methodist. And I have been baptized apparently twice. Once when I was a baby, and once a few years ago. But if anything, that is what really made me atheist. And the reason being, because usually people will bring this up, like, because this actually happened to me the other day in the cafeteria at school. Like, we were talking about, I don't know what, but they were just talking about, like, my appearance and stuff, which, there's kids are gonna do that, I guess. But then they start asking me why I don't believe in God and stuff. And, they start, their preference is mostly when people ask me this, they'll start like, oh, well, you think the Big Bang created it, the big explosion created us? And no, not necessarily. Um, Me, it's really a thought process for me. So, so I don't really do well with this. Is why I don't like talking about this. But the reason being is because the more I stop going to church and stop believing, is actually made me observe more and more open minded about the world. And so I get it. Y'all are gonna assume I believe in the Big Bang or whatever. And like I said, not necessarily, but um, so how I see it is I just refuse to worship God because to me he's evil. Because he would send somebody to hell just because they're like gay or uh, they just simply don't believe. And to me, that's cruel, inhumane, unkind, and ungenerous. And to me, a person doesn't deserve to be worshipped for that. Which, again, I'm not I ain't trying to tell you to stop believing or to not believe at all or to start believing. I'm not trying to do none of that. If y'all believe, that's y'all. If y'all don't, again, that's y'all. But just, what's it called? So back to what I was saying about him. So I've read the Bible before, and apparently all you have to do is pray and repent on your sins, and you get to go to heaven. But what I don't understand is, say, a murderer, a rapist, a pedophile, they do all these horrible things, and yet all they have to do is pray to a man in the sky, and they just get forgiveness for that and get to go to a kingdom of magic and harmony and peace. Well, a person who committed no crimes at all, done anything wrong, just stuck to themselves or chill, don't bother anybody. They simply don't believe, or say are lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans, LGBTQIA. They've done nothing wrong. They've just been them. They get to burn and suffer for eternity. To me, no, that's wrong. If anything, it's those people who did those wrong things. They deserve to be in heaven. Well, say again, I personally don't believe in heaven or hell, but um, the people who've done nothing wrong, they're the ones that really should go to heaven. But and that another thing is that reminds me of like discrimination. Like how back in the day when white kids and black kids can go to school together, it's like that segregation and discriminating. Say like only a certain group of people can go up to peace and harmony forever, and you know a person who isn't religious, they get to burn. Like that's like saying, only if you have blonde hair and blue eyes, you get to be, in a certain group. But yet, if you have brown hair and brown eyes, for example, then you get to be shot. And like they said, the way I see it, like, I'm not going to say who, but the person that I know is Methodist, according to them, if when you die, your soul automatically goes to heaven or hell, which either if you believe, then you get to go to heaven, but if you don't, then you get to go to hell. Like, to me, that's wrong, and according to other people, that isn't true. So to me, it's all confusing. But anyways, I'm just gonna get to the point. Um, so where was I? Like again, that's saying only if you like a certain color as me, or a certain movie, a show, or something, then yeah, you get to be happy and have all this cool stuff. But if you don't, then you just get to be treated like shit and thrown away. And that's wrong. Like, sorry, I know I might be repeating myself too much, y'all. I'm sorry, but I'm doing my best. But you know, and I think I'm gonna say this. It may not make sense, may not, but shit, I already forgot, y'all. I'm sorry. This is why I don't like talking about. But I will do this, and maybe it'll jog my memory. So, like, say this, right? I'm gonna turn the light off real quick, just for a quick second. So, like, say this is how the world started, like this, right? And then all of a sudden, God says, "Let there be light," and there's light, correct? Okay, but the sun wasn't created until the fourth day. So where was the light at the first 3 days? And then people are going to say that God is light. Oh, but no. So you're saying a person can be light. That's like saying I can be electricity. You know, I don't know, y'all. I'm using, like I said earlier, I'm exercising my First Amendment, and I think I'm gonna try to wrap it up, but I'll say a few more things. So to me, if there is a God, he's either not all powerful or not all good, and he needs to come down to earth and apologize to everybody. Because worshiping God, like, that's like saying, if you don't believe in me, then you get to burn. That's like begging your abuser to stop hurting you. Like, say you're in trouble, or like have a bad life or whatever. Say you don't have much money, so apparently all you have to do is pray, and then you get good stuff. But a person who doesn't, they don't pray, they get treated like scum, and they get to continue to suffer, and keep not being happy, being miserable. And speaking of miserable, like, life is made miserable on Earth by natural causes, like volcanoes, hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes, disease, pestilence, congenital birth defects. This list of ways, man. And me, like I said earlier, I'm not going to worship a God that would send someone to hell just because, say, they made one mistake in life, or are gay, or aren't religious. Like, say, when they were a kid, they stole a piece of candy or threw a ball at another kid. I'm not saying that's exactly what happens. I'm just trying to put an example. So they're saying they did one thing, sinned once in their life, not too serious. They get to suffer forever in eternity. Like, no crime should be worthy of eternal punishment like that, unless like you murdered someone, raped, done something horrible. Then I can see why. But and I guess that's really all I got to say about that. Like, again, I'm not trying to convert anyone. I'm not trying to get people to believe or not believe. I'm not trying to put anyone down. I'm just, again, exercising my First Amendment rights. And I might get hate for this. I might lose subscribers. You might blow me up in the comments. That's fine. And that should be expected. But yeah, and free will, no crimes. I mean, no law says you have to be religious. It's really just a freedom of choice. So if y'all think that any crime, or like say not being religious, being gay, if that's so horrible and worthy of being burned, y'all are wrong for that. And, you know, that's like, even according to the Bible, it says, if you're gay, it's a sin. A man shall not lie with another man or whatever. And it doesn't God say to love everyone, not to judge them or discriminate according to the Bible and teach what y'all believe, I guess. You know, but to me, people who think that way about gays, they're arrogant, ignorant, stupid people. And that, to me, that's not what religion is about. It's, to be honest, you know, it's just faith is what religion should be, not discriminating or putting down or, you know, that's, I know I said that to y'all too many times, but this time it really is. I got nothing else to say. But, yep. So, y'all have a good day, and